Daniel Jacobs has the kind of story that seems straight out of an aspirational Hollywood script. 6 years ago, his boxing career appeared to be finished after a life-and-death battle against cancer.
Through all the adversity, I think it affected me by giving me the mental strength to know that you belong and you can surpass any expectation, even of your own.
So Jacobs returned to the ring, and not just with renewed fortitude, but with his eyes on middleweight supremacy. And this past March, Jacobs again exceeded most expectations in his bout against the division's kingpin, Gennady Golovkin. After a fourth-round knockdown, Jacobs got up and took the fight to Triple G.
Middleweight championship of the world on the line in a packed Madison Square Garden, and the local kid climbs off the deck and does this.
Win, lose, or draw, Danny Jacobs is a winner tonight, no matter what the judges say.
Even in losing a unanimous decision, Jacobs showed he has what it takes to keep making noise in the red-hot 160-pound weight class. His next challenge, unbeaten Luis Arias. Young, brash, full of bravado, looking to make a name for himself tonight.
This is my opportunity to show the world that I belong amongst the best. I'm coming to knock him out.
He gotta go! He gotta go!
Yeah, Jacob, stop running. Get your ass.
Daniel Jacobs against Luis Arias, headlining what promises to be an explosive triple header. Live from Long Island, New York, on World Championship Boxing. Next.
Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner with his trainer John David Jackson, wearing red with white and silver. Official weight, 160 pounds. His professional record is a perfect one. 18 fights, 18 victories, including 9 wins by knockout. Originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but now living, training, and fighting out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, USA, the undefeated Luis Cuba Arias. And across the ring, fighting out of the red corner with his trainer, Andre Rozier, wearing gray with silver and red, and officially weighing in at 159.6 pounds. An excellent professional record, 32 victories, 29 big wins by knockout, with only 2 defeats. From Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York, USA, the former WBA middleweight champion of the world, Daniel Miracle Man Jacobs.
Sure. All right? Sure. Talk to me. Lewis.
You men both received my instructions in the dressing room. Obey my commands, protect yourselves at all times, man. I want you to touch gloves now. You're boxer at the bell. God bless you both.
Daniel Jacobs, who's one of the most sympathetic and likable characters in boxing, a decorated amateur, has been on the kind of roll of late that has some people wondering, you know, maybe he's the best middleweight in the world. He's attained that level, but he needs to maintain it tonight, because Arias was also a decorated national amateur and is hungry. He said earlier this year, I was fighting in a middle school auditorium, and I belong on this stage. Jim, when you asked if it's a trap fight, the answer is yes. What has Jacobs' preparation been for this?
But the way Daniel Jacobs caught Peter Quillen in the first round and ultimately put him away with a shocking early knockout, he would love to do that to Arias. After everything that Arias said about him and to him during the build-up to the fight, Roy Jones.
Yes, he would, Jim, but like you said, he has become a better fighter after the fight with Triple G, mainly because he fought the best middleweight in the world. You got, just like you did with cancer, you got knocked down, you got back up, and you came back, and now you're back again. So with those being said, the cancer thing, the best middleweight in the world, and you're still here. So you're still here. So you have to have confidence.
Arias was trash talking, he said, to get Jacobs out of his game plan. But maybe, in fact, it did provide Jacobs with the kind of emotional incentive he needed after the big fights he's had recently with big names.
Yeah, that's all he did. He woke him up, made sure he got prepared for this fight. He put him on notice that he was coming to try to upset him, and that's what Daniel Jacobs probably needed. Because he's very focused right now.
They're both boxing sharply here in the first round.
Arias is a little less conventional than Jacobs, a little less straight up and down. Jacobs may have to work to find Arias at some times, but at the end of the day, they will match power against power. Daniel is the one with 29 knockouts in 32 fights. Hard right hand by Arias. Jacobs handles it no problem.
Oh,
and
shot.
Crashes Arias on the top of the head with a hard right hand.
Jim, you mentioned it. He was opportunistic against Kid Chocolate in the first round. He hurt Arias here, tried to jump on him.
Arias responds with a tackle, and a pretty effective tackle. Referee Michael Griffin from Canada is a good one. He may have some work to do here tonight.
A smart move by Arias and bought himself precious seconds.
Arias working to the body now.
See, Jacobs is not only a sharp boxer, but a good puncher.
As he pointed out, I have more first-round knockouts than he has knockouts. So I'm the puncher here. He was adamant about saying that after Arias had said many times in pre-fight news conferences that he would knock Jacobs out.
And he said Jacobs was gonna run.
Right.
He said, why am I running? I'm the one with the high knockout percentage.
Another little right hand lands for Jacobs as the round comes to a close. A spirited first round with a hard shot by Daniel Jacobs and a tackle by Luis Arias.
Give me a deep breath. How you feel? Good. As you see,
too much space. I got to.
Yes, you did. As you can see, he does not want to engage.
Okay.
The talk, the conversation,
yes, sir.
All the mouthing,
yes, sir,
is coming to pass,
okay.
And he sees this is real now.
Yes, sir.
I want you to be a little bit sharper.
Okay.
Jab, right hand, left uppercut, yes, and then sink it to the body. All right? Okay. Keep pacing him that way.
He see Jacobs holding with the left there, then boom with the right hand, but it landed on the ear. Was not really a clean shot, more of an off-balance thing like we was talking about earlier, and it didn't really hurt him where it buckled his legs or anything, but Jacobs did put him on notice that he wants to knock him out, and therefore he had to tackle Jacobs to keep him trying to get knocked out.
That's right on.
Round 2 of the scheduled 12.
So far, Jacobs looks like the guy who showed up in those last 3 fights.
Without a doubt, he is sharp as we've ever seen him, I think.
Yep, so far, he has that look of an excellent prize fighter in his prime.
Give him up.
Keep him up, Lewis. Keep him up.
No, stop. Above the waist. Let's 3-0. Go box. Hey, no punches. Let him go.
Good body shot by Arias. Jacobs is focused on trying to land something to Arias' head.
Stop punching.
Jacobs has to be careful not to try to just go for the knockout, but make sure he wins the fight while he's fighting. He's trying to aim too hard and trying to hit too hard right now as a result of the talk that Arias has done. So he has to calm himself back down and stay in the boxing envelope and let the knockout happen. Don't just go after the knockout.
Well, maybe there was some method to Arias' madness in the press conferences.
Oh, without a doubt.
After their meeting in Madison Square Garden in March, Gennady Golovkin was effusive in his praise of Jacobs and has said since then, Daniel Jacobs is my favorite prize fighter. Part of what Gennady's trying to say is that Jacobs is sportsmanlike. He's a gentleman.
Makes no excuses, doesn't complain about anything. He's one of my favorite athletes.
And Triple G, by the way, going into the Jacobs fight, said this is his toughest opponent of his career. The package that Jacobs presents: long, excellent jab, amateur pedigree, punching power, and given the adversity he's overcome outside the ring and inside the ring, a mature prize fighter. And by the way, the fight played out in such a way that justified Triple G's praise.
Step back. Let him go. Box. Time!
Jacobs flashing fast hands at the end of that ring. Tuesday, November 21. Don't miss the premiere of the next installment of Real Sports for a look at Kelly Slater's Surf Ranch, where the former world champion is perfecting his idea for the perfect man-made wave. And immediately following this telecast, join me for an encore presentation of the fight game featuring an introduction to a former convict, now pastor Buddy Osborne, who's using boxing and faith to change lives in inner-city Philadelphia. And a flashback to a heavyweight classic, Holyfield Bowe 1, 25 years ago this month.
Keep those hands up low and touch that body for me, all right? You're trying to touch him. Stay relaxed and get a little bit closer. You're getting there. Work that jab, okay? 1-1, right? I got you there.
Go, hey, and change him up on
John David Jackson, Luis Arias' chosen trainer, now in charge in that corner. Arias has also reached out within the past year or two and struck up a friendship with Winky Wright. Winky Wright, fierce competitor, who can probably help to stimulate Luis Arias' competitive juices. Harold Letterman sees Daniel Jacobs winning the first 2 rounds here of a scheduled 12 against Luis Arias.
Well, Jacobs very sharp so far, reaching a bit with the right hand, as Roy mentioned. But now the question becomes, can he maintain that kind of level of intensity each and every round? It separates the contenders from the champions at this level.
Really throwing some good punches though, Max. He's turning his body really well with his punches, sharper than I've ever seen him punch. Danny Jacobs, that is.
Yeah, he seems to be getting better and better. It's not just that he's attained a level, he seems to be ascending still.
Yes, still climbing that ladder. Good right hand.
Break! No punches! I call a break. You listen to me. No punches. Box.
Oh, good.
Brilliant shot by Jacobs in the center of the ring.
Break! No punches. Step back.
And one thing that facilitated that uppercut shot from Jacobs, quick left hook there, you can just see he's the rangier of the two fighters. He gets to more places. He's got a longer, bigger body. He can find Arias more easily than Arias can find him.
Most definitely.
It's been a while since New York produced a special fighter. Not a good fighters, but a special fighter. And based on his amateur success, Jacobs was the leading candidate of recent years. I mean, over a decade now, to be the most special fighter who came out of this area. And looks like he's starting to get there as a pro.
I think so too. Next.
See the graphic on total headshots landed. Arias missing again there. Luis Arias is a product of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. His mother is Nicaraguan. His father is Cuban. He would like ultimately to make enough money in boxing to move his parents to Florida so they could live in warmer weather. And recently, having taken up training in Florida with John David Jackson, he's also struck up a friendship with Winky Wright. Let's take a look.
I live in South Florida, been training here for 3-4 years now. I've been thinking about the Jacobs fight every day, every second of the day. Thinking about knocking Jacobs out. I actually met Wink a couple fights ago. I reached out to him and he answered the phone. So to have someone you looked up to growing up, getting advice from him, it's amazing.
My man ready. He moving good, good body punch. Well, when you're in the underdog, you know you got to win every round. Dictate the fight from round 1 to round 12. And at the end of the night, we're going to see what happens. Touch him, but move. He's not going to stand there. He's not going to just stand there. He's going to be doing this. He's going to be stepping around.
Running.
Yeah, it's your time to shine, dog.
I'm coming to knock you out. It means everything. Everything that I worked for my whole life. And November 11th, I make my statement.
We move to round 4 of a scheduled 12. Harold Letterman, how did you score the first 3 rounds?
Okay, Jim, I got a 3-0, 30-27, Danny Jacobs. You know, Jim, Luis Arias' inexperience is showing badly in this fight. In other words, in round 3, he missed a lot of shots. He's throwing a lot of low blows. He was warned, I guess, in round 1, and he's been throwing low blows ever since. You know, and that's inexperience. It's the fact that he's never fought anybody tough like this, and he doesn't know what to do with Danny Jacobs. Anyway, 3-0 Danny Jacobs because of that big right hand he keeps landing.
Jacobs fighting as a southpaw.
Spent this whole round in the southpaw stance, right, Max?
Yep.
So what's he trying to accomplish there, Roy?
Just showing him a different angle, trying to find some other openings. Because Arias has been such a closed envelope, he's trying to show him a different picture to hope that he opens up more. If he opens up more, then he's possibly able to land bigger shots. But with him being in that closed envelope, it's very difficult to hit him.
Now he switches back to the conventional stance.
It's weird how he did it, too. It's almost like he wasn't sure if he wanted to stay southpaw or maybe switch it up and decided to go right-handed.
Break! Step back. No punches.
Oh, and your most dangerous punch is a right hand thrown from a conventional stance. Makes sense that you're going to go back there at some point. I thought he bothered Golovkin with the southpaw stance. I'm not sure that Triple G saw that coming.
I don't think he saw it coming either.
It shows you the confidence Daniel Jacobs has as a complete boxer to do that, to switch up at that level.
Jacobs shakes his head as if to say, well, this guy's willing to try anything.
I mean, it is a fight.
Second time he's landed that uppercut.
It's been a beautiful uppercut, Jim. Very good timing on that shot, and it's a very ripping punch. I like that shot by Danny Jacobs. Not many fighters can land that punch.
That's low, Danny.
Threw it to the body.
Yeah, good right hand to the body.
No punches.
I'm not even sure Arias landed a single punch in that round. Daniel Jacobs is defending very well tonight.
Behind the head for me, all right? Thank you.
He's dipping in.
How you feel, son? How you feel? You good?
Hey, when you're on the clinch, punch, because he's hitting you. Don't put your head down. He won't hit you back in the neck. Come on. Body.
All he's doing is waiting for you. So you gotta give him the same thing he's giving you. Put that jab on him and then get close, okay? Okay? All he's doing waiting for you. He's reacting off what you do. So get back what he's giving you. Feint and then get your way in. But listen, work behind that jab and get in.
Okay. Keep it consistent, though. All right, come on, let's go. Looking good, baby. Body, head.
Box.
Body, head. Last thing that Andre Rozier said to his fighter, Daniel Jacobs.
This little right hand from distance that Arias just landed.
His best punch in a while.
Maybe of the fight.
I think Danny kind of rolled with it a little bit, though. So.
Yep. But still, at least to send some sweat flying. Arias hasn't landed one of those yet.
Of course, he needed that.
Break! Stop holding,
Jacobs
let's go.
spearing Arias with the right hand.
Good
sticks his jab. Stiff jab.
It's got to be frustrating for Arias, who can handle himself, and who was a decorated amateur, to not really be doing anything wrong and still be getting hit so cleanly. His hands are high, his chin is tucked, he's trying to move his head, and yet Jacobs is able to spear his guard with the jab right hand.
Max, the bad part for him, I mean, he's a good fighter, nothing wrong with that, but having your hands that close to your face, it makes it very difficult to avoid sharp punches like Daniel Jacobs is throwing tonight. So when you got your hands that close, if he beats your hands, your face is right there. You don't have no time to react. That's why a lot of guys fight with their hands out in front of them, so that if you negate the hands, the guy still has a chance to react with the face, maybe roll with the punch or something like that.
Usually guys with their hands that close are a little closer to their opponent.
Like Winky Wright, always stepping to you. Never stepping away because he knows he needs to be close to get work done with his hands that close to his face.
Break!
Like
Maybe Winky Wright hadn't tried to teach that to Luis Arias yet.
Well, he's not his trainer.
He's not his trainer. That's right.
There's a difference.
Yeah. And Jacobs is very good at controlling distance.
Of course. But you see Jacobs' hands, they're not so close to his face. So he can block punches without and still have time if the punch gets by his hands to react with his face.
Keep him up, Danny.
Another commanding round for Daniel Jacobs. Took one right hand at the beginning of the round and then controlled everything the rest of the way. On Thanksgiving weekend, the thrilling return of Sergey Kovalev, who headlines triple-header action against Vyacheslav Sobransky. Following that night's live boxing, stick around for Miguel Cotto, a retrospective. A 30-minute special celebrating the career of Miguel Cotto. Makes the final ring appearance of his Hall of Fame career 1 week later when he defends his 154-pound title belt against Saddam Ali in New York's Madison Square Garden. Saddam Ali, who is ringside here tonight, is no doubt here partially to see his Brooklyn neighbor, Big Baby Miller. Through round 5, Arias averaged just 25 punches thrown per round. In his last 3 fights coming in, he was throwing 65 punches per round. So Jacobs has succeeded in threatening Arias to the point where Arias has lowered his punch output significantly.
Jacobs outclassing Arias so far.
Box.
Saddam Ali, also trained by Andre Rozier, Daniel Jacobs' trainer, I should say. So they know each other well. Similar tracks in their amateur careers. Hard right hand by Jacobs. Arias, who wanted so badly to put on a big show here tonight. Arias, who wanted so badly to be competitive with Jacobs. Watching all that slip away now, does get in a hard right-hand body shot to the waistline of Jacobs there.
Yeah, but what happens, Jim, when he gets inside where he said he wants to fight at, he holds. So when you get inside there, that's when you're supposed to let your hands go because you're closer to the taller, longer-armed Danny Jacobs. So right there, you're supposed to be punching. But instead, he either holds or he gets right back outside.
Good left
and when he
hook.
gets caught in middle distance, Jacobs whacks him, particularly with one of those uppercuts that have been so effective. Daniel Jacobs gets to his underneath game about as quickly as any fighter.
I thought he rocked Arias with a left hook, the first good one I've seen Jacobs throw tonight.
There's that uppercut again with the right hand.
See, there's a good right hand by Arias, but he's holding now.
His claim, Arias' claim, is Jacobs has no inside game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if he doesn't...
Daniel says he has an inside game, which he's showing here, but as a professional, he knows he's better off on the outside.
But if you think he doesn't have an inside game, then let us see you fight more inside.
Give him up.
Like right there. Why are you holding there if you want to fight inside? You said you can fight better inside than him.
Maybe Daniel has a better inside game than Arias anticipated. And I think, Jim, your point about the uppercuts is right on. He tasted that power inside with that uppercut and didn't want it. Arias.
Jacobs' hands are faster inside.
This is why I say break. Box.
Without a doubt.
And the other guy outmatches your speed. And that limits your options.
Well, if you move into a position with a superior fighter where there will be more exchanging, it may hasten your demise, but sometimes it also gives you your only chance to win.
And attacking Daniel Jacobs, dominating the closing seconds of that round against Luis Arias, and his son Nate roaring his approval at ringside.
And he's taking full advantage of it. All right? Good stuff at the end. All right, listen to me, son. Take a deep breath. Very important. You've been too nice to him.
Okay.
What you did just then scared the living hell out of him. All right? Now, we're going to work sharp, but I want you to rough him up a little bit this time, okay? You get close.
All over the place. You know, he's not hurting you, but you're making it look bad. Stay relaxed, man. Just stay relaxed for a minute. All right?
You got to work inside.
You're putting too much pressure on yourself. You can get to this guy. He ain't super fast. He's not super strong. Where's the mouthpiece at? Okay? Listen to me. Be smart.
In round 6, Daniel Jacobs landed a fight-high 18 punches, 18 out of 56. Through round 6, by our lights, Jacobs thoroughly in control against Luis Arias in this middleweight showdown. Let's see how Harold Letterman has it unofficially to this point.
Okay, Jim, I got it 6-0, 60-54, Daniel Jacobs. You know, Jimmy, he's completely controlling this fight. I mean, with the left jab, with the right over the top, and with that uppercut that you've been talking about all night. I mean, he's landing the cleaner, harder shots. He's backing up Arias the entire fight. You can't take it away from him. He's the better offensive fighter, and he's winning the fight. 6-0, Daniel Jacobs.
He's the better offensive fighter, and he's the better defensive fighter.
Exactly.
Up to this point.
Arias feels Jacobs is chinny. Jacobs has been stopped by Pirog. Of course, that was under very difficult circumstances that Jacobs fought that fight. His grandmother passed that earlier that day. And it turns out that not long thereafter, he was diagnosed with cancer. Who knows what was going on with him physically even at that time.
Exactly.
He was also dropped against Sergio Mora and Triple G. But I haven't seen Arias really sell out on anything hard, where maybe a little bit there where he thought, I'm going to really test Daniel's chin.
Well, if you get dropped by Sergio Mora, that's an accident. If you get dropped by Triple G, that's to be expected. It was the Pirogue shot that really affected his career. And Pirogue was a puncher.
And it affected his reputation. And as we said, those are extenuating circumstances for a fighter, who still isn't there yet. Meantime, they got very different advice in the corner. Jacobs' corner wants him to rough Arias up. Arias' corner wants him to relax.
It's new territory for Arias. Best fighter he's probably fought as a professional. Danny is used to this. Danny has been in some big fights, and we've seen Danny constantly progressing as he goes. So,
anytime a guy puts as much pressure on himself before a fight as Arias did, you have to wonder how he's going to perform once he gets into the ring. He wanted this so badly, and he was so sure that he would make an impression early in the fight. Now, our unofficial score sees him having lost 6 rounds to this point. And even his trainer is saying to him, relax, you can get at him, you're trying too hard.
Yeah, I don't know if it's an issue of effort. He's just, I see 2 different classes of fighters at the moment.
Break! Get off the back of his head. Come on, let's go, Max.
Round 7, similar to those which preceded it.
Good hook.
Jacobs gets in a quick left hook.
He has not used it much, but when he does, it lands to great effect, Jacobs' hook.
I'm not saying that. You're waiting too late to do it, all right? Take a deep breath, all right? I need you to start consistently attacking with your combination.
Okay.
All right? Keep the jab on them, upstairs and downstairs.
Okay.
All right? Let's stick it. Right hand, body, then come back with the hook.
Okay.
All right? Just constantly fire it on them. Okay?
Hey, focus.
Listen, man, if he's weak, you gotta show me this. Listen, if you're gonna box from the outside, use that jab and get inside. If you don't go to him, work the body, all right? Come on.
CompuBox numbers don't lie. Luis Arias has landed double digits in only 1 round. That was the round in which Jacobs landed his highest number of punches in the fight. So Daniel Jacobs has been in control both offensively and defensively, just thoroughly outboxing Luis Arias to this point in the fight. And it's this all-around boxing skill, this capability of being good in every category, which makes Daniel Jacobs one of the top middleweights in the world.
Yeah, he's dominating the fight inside. He's dominating it outside. He's dominating when he's going forward. He's dominating when he's going backwards. He's dominating every aspect of this fight right now.
He landed a perfect right-hand lead against Arias to start that last exchange.
Jacobs has the size, the speed, the amateur background, the skills, the punching power, and I think most importantly at this stage of his career, the professionalism and attitude.
Keep him up.
And the confidence and the temperament.
Right, of a fighter who's very dangerous right now.
Just ask Gennady Golovkin. This time the uppercut landed with the left hand. And another good clean shot for Daniel Jacobs.
Don't punch him.
A lot of boxing is timing. When one fighter happens to catch another one, or when he intentionally catches him, in terms of when they actually meet in the ring. Oftentimes, big fights are made when a fighter is a little bit past it, because it took him that long to become a recognizable name. Maybe that's the case with Triple G. Making Jacobs very, very dangerous because he's just coming into it.
He sure is. And Arias is giving us a great effort. Make no mistake about it. It's a great effort. He's trying his best. He's still out there trying to land that big shot. And I mean, you couldn't ask for a better effort from him.
Good left-hand body shot by Arias. He's gotten frisky in the last minute.
But Jacobs is letting him do that. It's almost as though Daniel wants to work on his inside defense, catching counter skills. He's walking him down and paying a little less attention to the kind of defense he was playing earlier in the fight. I think he feels he has a weakened target.
Break! No punch, no punch.
Jacobs yelling at Arias at the end of the round. December 2, World Championship Boxing brings you the final fight in the Hall of Fame career of Miguel Cotto. He'll say goodbye after a sensational 17-year run as a professional prize fighter. Cotto will take on Saddam Ali in his home away from home, Madison Square Garden. 1 week later, it's an all-action BAD tripleheader, headlined by Orlando Salido's matchup with fellow rough and tumble veteran Mickey Roman. And December 16th, Billy Joe Saunders puts his middleweight title belt and undefeated record on the line against knockout artist David Lemieux.
You gotta be busy. What? Round 9, you got
bro. Let's go. Make this shit a dog fight.
Listen to me. You got 4 rounds to work with, okay? You gotta start closing the distance and let them hands go. Don't look for one shot. When you fire that right hand, come back with that hook for me. Okay?
In round 8, Jacobs landed a fight-high 8 jabs, throwing 23. That, too, suggests he wanted to work on something in that round.
You can see that Daniel was actually personally offended by Arias' behavior at the press conferences, because his barking at Arias now seems to be a reaction to that. But he's also fought a disciplined professional fight, Jacobs. He hasn't let that kind of emotion affect the way he's fought the fight.
Not at all.
Hasn't taken a single unnecessary risk.
And that is also a hallmark of a peaking fighter, the control of emotion. And in fact, as Costamato used to say, the use of the emotion, using the emotion, not letting the emotion consume you. He's channeled his anger into intensity, not carelessness.
Your hands are free. Break! Wait. Box.
Halfway through the 9th, hard body shot by Jacobs with right hand.
Hands are free, Lewis.
Working to the body some more.
Break!
Arias trying to even that up a little bit. Right hand lands for Jacobs. Stalking Arias across the ring. Lands that uppercut again. Shot has been there for him all night long.
Can't hit him in the back. Box.
Mike Griffin of Canada, a good referee.
There he is.
Come up, Danny.
Very good referee.
Very commanding, always in position.
I really like what I see in Danny Jacobs tonight. Very sharp, very precision punching, very powerful punches. They're not carrying, they're not wasting too much time in the air. They're right to the point and right back. I've never seen him this crisp. He's constantly improving as a professional boxer.
Stick with us between rounds. Something special to show you. As American fans on the undercard tonight got a look at Nigel Benn's son, Conor Benn, against a Mexican opponent named Sanudo, and watch the left-hand body shot by Conor Benn. Sensational. Burying his left hand into the liver of Sanudo, and from the moment the shot landed, you just knew that the Mexican fighter would not be getting up. And Conor Benn, confident, calm, winner by KO, 1 minute of round number 2. Many of you will remember his father. And there's a look at the outside of the Nassau Coliseum, where we are tonight in Hempstead, New York. I called it the house that all those Islanders built, Brian Trottier and Mike Bossy and Billy Smith. But I have been reminded this evening, had almost forgotten it, that the Nets used to play here, and that Dr. J and the Whopper Billy Pulse won 2 ABA championships here in this building.
They were the New York Nets.
That's right. It's been a while.
Jacobs again landed a really good left hook at the end of the round. Whenever he throws it, it's really a very good weapon, just doesn't throw it a lot.
And I stuck in that comment about the Nets when I should have been going immediately to Harold Letterman. Harold, how do you have it scored so far?
Jim, I don't have it any different than I had it the last time.
Yep.
9-0, 90-81. Daniel Jacobs. He's just out punching him, out working him, backing him up. You talk about effective aggressiveness. Daniel Jacobs has been backing this guy up for the entire 9 rounds. Daniel Jacobs certainly winning the fight, no question. 9-0, Jacobs.
I don't think you're going to have any big disagreement with your daughter Julie tonight, Harold.
I doubt it. If not, I can't go home.
I don't see this being one of those fights where we're going to get one thing from Harold and another from daughter Julie.
And here when you see Jacobs' defense start to look a little porous, it's because he's allowing Arias to open up a little bit now that he feels that Arias has been weakened. And he's, I think, baiting him to throw punches.
Good hard left hand to the body by Jacobs. Momentarily bothered Arias. Now Daniel gets him. A couple of punches upstairs. Looking to try to put Arias down.
He got that pressure on him now, Jim.
Good hook to the body by Jacobs.
He got that constant pressure on him now.
He's having a very good round.
Yes.
Still 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. Jacobs closing in on Arias.
Hands are free.
Another hard left to the body.
I tell you what, Jacobs, every time he throws the hook, it lands hard.
Let him go. Let him go, Lewis.
Another quick left hook by Jacobs. This one landed flush on the chin. Daniel is all business in there.
100%, Jim. He ain't playing no game.
There's the right uppercut again. Brilliant punch all night. Jacobs has landed 20 shots in this round. Looking to make it 30. Throw down, he says.
Let him go. Break. Your hands are free, you gotta punch. Box.
10 seconds to go. In round 10. One last chance for Jacobs to try to hurt Arias after a dominant round.
Time! All right, that was good. You gotta attack his body a little bit more, son. He don't want to fight.
Every time
Yeah, but you know why? Because you're loading it. Let it flow. A little smooth one, pop, 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 and touch him inside and step around him. So, and anytime he gets hurt with something, he's gonna grab you. All right? Get low on him.
You gotta look for him. Work the body first and with the head. Finish with that hook for him, okay? You got 2 rounds to work with.
Vivo, hands up. Vamos, con tu familia, por el amor de Dios, cabrón. Vamos, mi.
You got 2 rounds. You gotta do it.
box, guys. We have got there. Keep him up.
Series of left hooks from Arias to start round 11.
The only question now in the fight is, can Jacobs finish the show?
While Arias holds one of his hands, Jacobs pounds him with the other.
Can he get his guy out of there?
He'd like to.
Lazier in the corner said he wants him to go to the body, and Jacobs says when I go to the body, he holds. Jacobs got to figure out a way to overcome the fact that his opponent is now trying to survive at times.
Arias landed a glancing blow upstairs. See if that incentivizes Jacobs.
No punches. Step back. No punches.
Jacobs sure trying to get him out of there, I tell you that.
Yep.
He is not playing with him. He's trying to get him out. And Arias doing a great job of surviving and avoiding the big punches.
Yeah, Jacobs, I think, believes he has a really big right hand, which he does. I don't think he knows how good his left hook is at times, Roy.
Well, I think he's just not utilizing it because the right hand is so open. He's getting the right hand anytime he wants. So he's not even really keying on the left hook yet.
Jacobs has only gone the distance a handful of times. He has been a knockout artist. 29 knockouts among his 32 wins. In fact, Daniel Jacobs has never been the winner of a 12-round decision. So now he's on the threshold of achieving that for the first time, or so it would appear. Back in the southpaw stance. That hasn't happened all that frequently.
Keeping that pressure on Arias, I tell you that.
Yep.
But I'm not sure the southpaw stance is going to help him to finish Arias, because it puts the right hand in a weaker position.
I think he's just giving him a different look.
That's all.
So that when he switches back,
Griffin is going to call this a knockdown. Griffin calls it a knockdown because Arias' glove touched the canvas.
6, 7, 8. You all right?
You hurt me.
Box.
Arias knocked down now for the first time as a professional. He was knocked down once as an amateur. No wonder he's disappointed with the ruling of knockdown. He had never been knocked down as a pro before.
Never been knocked out either, obviously, so Jacobs will try and change that next round.
Deep breath, deep breath. You got one round to work with. Whatever you're going to do this round is what you got to do, all right? When he gets close, all you got to do is sit down your shots and give me 3 or 4 punch combination. And sit on them hard. Don't look for that one big shot. Okay?
Oh, I'm good.
Last round.
Come on, let's go then. I'm not hurt.
Last round.
Hands up, bro.
Listen, be smart, okay?
You see Arias mad because this left hook right there was behind the head. It was more of an off-balance thing because it didn't land flush to the head. But that should not have been a knockdown. And that's why he's angry.
Arias averaged 26 punches thrown per round here in these first 11 rounds after coming in averaging 65 punches per round. And he was so determined to get something done here tonight. Daniel Jacobs has been dominant from the outset.
Well, I mean, Jacobs just landed a jab so hard. That,
crowd oohed and awed.
Well, I mean, Arias didn't seem to know where he was for a second.
Arias determined to land a combination somewhere.
That left hook from Arias is slapping, but he's had some success with it over the last couple rounds as Jacobs has been increasingly offensive-minded.
Something wrong with Arias' right foot. Either he's cramping up or something happened at the end of the last round.
Yep.
And he's just sort of getting this round.
Yeah, he can't. It looks like he can't put weight on it.
Something wrong with that right foot.
Cramps would make sense, Roy.
Yep.
Less than 2 minutes to go. See if Jacobs can take advantage of Arias' somewhat compromised mobility. Daniel Jacobs has been very quick tonight.
All night
with his
long.
hands and quick with his feet.
All night long, too, Jim.
Yep.
Hands are free, you can't grab them. Right, don't punch. Hands are free, you gotta punch.
Jacobs determinedly chasing Arias.
Free, let him go. Break.
30 seconds to go.
Good hook.
Well, it looks like Jacobs is going to get that 12-round win.
Yep.
First one of his entire career. 12 rounds complete.
Looks like Jacobs still has a little bad blood there, Roy.
Of course he does.
Arias went over. Let's see now he's hugging him, but he doesn't even want to look at him.
No, he never looked him in the eye.
And that's not often you see that. Usually, even after trash talking at the end of a 12-round fight, guys will hug it out.
All depends on how serious it is, Max. Sometimes the guys cross the line.
Apparently, Jacobs thinks that Arias did.
I think Jacobs made clear in our fighting meeting yesterday that he felt like Arias had crossed the line.
No, but they could say that before the fight, and usually afterward, there's a little less of what we just saw. Jacobs did not like what Arias said, obviously.
By the way, in the left corner of the screen, over there in Jacobs' corner, momentarily a few seconds ago, the left corner of the screen there, that's Chris Algieri. You'll remember Chris Algieri from his appearances on HBO, and he has been Jacobs' nutritionist for his last 2 ring appearances against Gennady Golovkin and again here tonight. And of course, Algieri is the former star of Long Island boxing. He preceded Cletus Seldon, the Hebrew Hammer, who is now the current star of Long Island boxing.
Very, very different styles. Algieri, just a boxer without a lot of power, and Seldon, all action, all power, all the time.
And Algieri's doing very well as Jacobs' nutritionist. Let's hear the scores from Michael Buffer.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards. Larry Hazard Jr. scores it 118-109. Julie Letter scores it 120-107. And Steve Weisfeld has it 119-108. All 3 scores go to the winner by unanimous decision. The Miracle Man from Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York, Danny Jacobs.
The calm, civil, gentlemanly, very decent Daniel Jacobs, accepting congratulations from referee Mike Griffin. Final CompuBox numbers. He more than doubles the number of punches landed by Arias. He throws 263 more. He lands at a significantly higher connect percentage. Power shots, he exactly doubles the number of landed punches by Arias. He throws nearly 100 more, and he lands at a very high percentage of 45%. So all in all, a very technically skilled performance by Daniel Jacobs. We'll take a look at punch zone, see where the punches landed, and you can see that Arias only got to Jacobs' body 24 times. Jacobs landed 30 body shots against Arias, 27 of them with the right hand. And a lot of those were those uppercuts to the body, thrown both from distance and in close, and all very effective. 154 headshots for Daniel Jacobs as opposed to only 64 for Arias. And now Max Kellerman stands by with the winner.
Congratulations, Daniel, on a totally dominant win against a determined, undefeated opponent. I wasn't going to start here, but since you brought it up just now, you nodded to someone ringside and said, that's the doctor who saved my life.
Yeah, I want to send a major shout out to Dr. Hartle right there in the crowd. I love you, Doc.
So how does it feel, not that this was for the title, but how does it feel now having knocked out Kid Chocolate, beaten Mora in the rematch the way you did, given Triple G the kind of fight you did, dominated this fight here in your home state, and you nod to the doctor over there, the doctor who saved your life? What are you feeling right now?
Life is blissful right now. I mean, I'm living in my dreams. All I want to do is impress the fans. All I want to do is be the people's champion. I have an opportunity to do that. And with my new showcase here at HBO, sky's the limit.
I said off the top of the show that this was a trap fight for you because you couldn't possibly have the same emotional motivation that you've had recently, given the magnitude of the fights you've had recently. And yet he did a lot of trash talking leading up to the fight. What did that do for you?
It added extra motivation, but I think at the end of the day, it kind of deterred me from my game plan. Especially when I hurt him early on, I realized that I could hurt him, and I was trying to go for the knockout opposed to listening to my corner, really putting it together. But, I mean, I've been out for about 8-9 months now, a little rusty. But now that I'm here, I'm active now. I have my new promoter, Eddie Hearn. He's going to keep me active, and we're going to be able to sharpen our skills up and go after the best.
You look pretty sharp to us ringside, Daniel. You look like a prime fighter, a peaking fighter right now. So you're saying that the anger actually threw you off your game plan. We were saying ringside, you didn't allow that to happen. You allowed it to make you intense without being careless. But you're saying it threw you off.
Just a little bit. I think when I hurt him in the first round, once I knew I could get him hurt, I guess I was kind of lunging over a little bit to try to throw them overhand rights. But he's a crafty guy. Much respect to Luis Arias and his team. I know it was a bunch of hype and build up, but you know he's fighting for his family. That's the same as I. So you got to respect a guy like that. So cheers to him and his team.
Though it didn't appear that way right after the fight. He came over to hug you, and you didn't look at him the first couple times, like as though there was still bad blood.
I mean, this is boxing, you know. We in there to hurt each other, so it probably take a little bit to get it out my system.
As I said, you look like a peaking fighter to us ringside. What do you want next? What in the immediate future, what do you want?
Well, I just want to stay active. That's my thing. I just really want to stay busy. I have my promoter, Eddie Hearn. He's going to keep me busy in the next 2018 and the next year. And I'm just looking forward to what he has in store because I know he has major plans for me, and I'm looking forward to see whoever wants to step up.
Most boxing fans would figure that there's a belt on the line, Saunders-Lemieux, and that if Daniel Jacobs gets the winner there, the winner of that fight would clearly be the leading guy to fight the winner of Triple G Canelo in the rematch. Something like that?
Something like that. That's exactly right. Well, we're going to invade Montreal. We're going to make sure that we're ringside so those guys see my face, and then call them out afterwards. I've already made it clear through social media that I wanted to fight, and both guys denied me. So hopefully this performance and me being with you guys in the match room, they'll be forced to fight me.
Glad to have you, Daniel. Congratulations. Jim?
All right, back ringside with Roy Jones. And Roy, Max brings up a very interesting point. Possibility of Daniel being matched against the winner of David Lemieux against Billy Joe Saunders. Middleweight title fight coming up December 16. Those are two extremely contrasting styles. Saunders, a boxer, counterpuncher. Lemieux, the premier, all-out attacking puncher with devastating power. Against which of those styles is Daniel better off?
I think he works well with either style. Anybody fighting Lemieux has to always be aware of that knockout punch power that he has because he's a hell of a puncher. So that would probably work worse for Danny. Whereas the other guy, Billy Joe Saunders, is a boxer. Danny would probably fare better with a boxer because I think he'll outbox Sanders, and he's probably a lot stronger than Sanders. But with Lemieux, there could be a problem because he's not going to run from Lemieux all night. If Lemieux hits him hard, he showed tonight, he's going to sit back down and fight and try to get his lick back. And that could turn out to be not so good for him.
All right, but I think he might be favored against either guy.
I do too. I would pick him over either guy.
Yeah, all right. Back to Max Kellerman to finish out the evening. You know, you touched on a great point in there. People talk about how Daniel Jacobs has already beaten cancer, so therefore maybe these other opponents don't look as difficult to him. I kind of poo-pooed that one for a while, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's made him bigger and better as a human being.
Yeah, it seems like too pat a story, but I think it actually works that way in Daniel Jacobs' case. And as I mentioned earlier, who knows how that illness in him was affecting his performance, even against Pirog. Not to take anything away from Pirog, but he certainly looked like a different fighter post-operation for his cancer than pre. And he's in his physical prime, and he seems to be coming into his own increasingly in fight after fight. I want to mention something about Daniel Jacobs against the winner of Saunders-Lemieux if that fight is made. I agree with Roy. The more dangerous fight for him is the Lemieux fight, because if there remains a knock on Daniel Jacobs, it's this idea that he's chinny because of the Pirog fight and because he's been knocked down since then. For that reason, Jacobs-Lemieux is a more interesting fight. Jacobs would be favored in that fight because he is the better boxer, but Lemieux, if he beats Saunders, with his quick hands and huge punching power, would present a real obstacle, which, were Jacobs to overcome that obstacle, the idea, the specter of a fight between Jacobs and the winner of a Triple G Canelo fight would be an enormous middleweight championship showdown.
Max, one more thing. With all due respect to Harold Letterman, you are our Hebrew Hammer. So I believe we have to finish the evening with you making a final comment about Cletus Selden.
Well, as I said earlier, when I asked him what makes him special other than the big right hand, he said he's a white Jewish kid from Long Island. He understands that that's unusual in boxing in this day and age, but it's not just that he has a big right hand. He's very physically strong. They've crafted this kind of old school style that minimizes his exposure to risk in terms of facing superior boxers. He's not going to box anyone from the outside. He's going to get inside and minimize the experience difference and optimize his chances of landing that huge right hand. He has a pretty good left hook, too. He's a genuine power puncher and an exciting fighter, and I look forward to seeing him again.
Absolutely. We had a whole crowd of people here tonight at the Nassau Coliseum who got to see Daniel Jacobs looking very good and probably want to see him again, but surely can't wait to see the Hebrew Hammer one more time. Thanks for being with us.